In our series on mental health, we try to address and talk about things that otherwise are kind of hidden subjects. So today I'm so honored to sit here with John Orozco to talk about depression. It's an issue that have some unfortunate experience with, and you've learned a lot about, and I'm so glad that you're able to unpack that for us. So there's so much hope in your message. I do quickly want to ask you just a random question.
Yeah.
If you were to go tide pooling with somebody from the Bible,
Yeah.
who would
tide
that be?
Pooling?
Yeah, you go tide pooling, you know. I love that story about you.
If I were to go tide pooling with someone from the Bible, well, this answer is going to sound weird, because it would be a child, but I'm not going to take a biblical character's child.
No, you're not going to take their child.
Because the reason why I go is for my kids.
Okay.
When I was little, we found an octopus, and that it was so cool. Every time I go, that's the thing I'm looking for, just so that way the kids can feel the same thing I felt when I was little. So if there was a kid I would take, maybe Isaac.
Okay.
Mostly because that was a rough day with Abraham up on the mountain. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So
Let's go, buddy.
My guy, you've gone through a lot today. You know, you deserve some reprieve on the beach. So yeah, that would be my answer, Isaac.
So here we go.
Yeah.
Well, on a more serious note, you talked about being with and how important that is, that you're with people. So the question that I wanted to ask you, can you share a personal experience where being present, being with someone in their struggle profoundly changed them, or maybe even changed you?
Yeah. I mean, multiple occasions, whether it's at church. I mean, I perform a lot of funerals, and so just even with people I don't know, but being there with them, a hug, a word of encouragement, I see that drastically change people's experience of it. I have friends of mine who suffer depression, and going out for coffee, going to a concert, and talking about life, and the text that I'll get after that, hey, I just needed that. And for me, it's, you know, maybe like it's an inane kind of, well, it's basic, you know, we're just going out and chatting about whatever. You know, I'm not a therapist, but I'm a human being, and I realize that just my presence, and then, you know, inversely, the presence of people in my life when I'm experiencing those things, it does shine a little bit of a light. I've been there for folks who, you know, my neighbor whose mother passed, and I was there right before she passed, and I was there in the hospital with him, and we're such good friends. Like, I can't even think of another situation that would cause us to be closer than we are, than being with each other in the moments where we're struggling the most, or experiencing life in moments that are really, really low. And so it causes us to draw closer together, and it deepens our friendships. And then just the power of being with, not having all the answers, not just this. It lightens my load, and it lightens others when I can do that for them.
Yeah. And it kind of makes you think, like, I need to know something, or I need to have answers, or I need to have something to say. But
you feel like that.
But there's nothing needed.
No.
You can just be with someone.
Yeah.
And what's that book by Jonathan Haidt, The Anxious Generation, or something like that? Or it's really because we connect by leaving comments on the post.
Yeah.
By reading about each other, and that's just not enough. You've really got to engage and interact with other people, and that even happens in the chat. To be honest, where we walk out of that chat going, the Holy Spirit was there. We connected with other people. We shared our perspectives, and it's wild. It's not necessarily an analog versus digital at all. It's engaging with and seeing with and listening to that is so important.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love that. I love that. And it's not a panacea to treat or to fix depression.
Yeah.
But it's got to start somewhere in the with. Do you even think that that's true of people that are more introverted?
Oh, absolutely. Especially people who are introverted.
Okay.
need it, you know? And a lot of times introversion is a person who hasn't found the right group of people to hang out with, you know? And it might be more specific for the introvert,
Okay.
you know? But when you find that right person, that right community, especially if you're introverted, you see an introvert come alive because it's okay, I'm really comfortable here with these people, and they get me and I get them, and you know, they allow me to be quiet and they hear me, you know. And so especially for an introvert, to be able to have that community and share this with thing, it just reminds you of like your humanity. It you call, even though you're not fixing anything, it's just, people can relate to me. I belong
Yeah.
in this world doing this thing. I have value and I have worth just because somebody is showing interest in me. And I love that.
I think it's so
Yeah.
good. Now, we're very careful to not be prescriptive in these messages. To say, hey, do this, this, and this, and your depression is gone.
It's gone, yeah.
It's just going to
Yeah.
be gone. However, what if somebody were to have clicked on this message today and they showed up because somebody that they know, you know, they're recognizing that there's something going on. Maybe that's depression or something akin to it. Or maybe listening to your message, they realize and recognize, that's me.
Yeah.
What is something that they could do before they turn their device off?
Well, the first thing I would strongly recommend is, if you know like this is something I contend with, is pull out your reality out of the world of your mind and literally write it down so you can just kind of evaluate it from afar. Because there's those two categories that are really important to, is this something that's out of my control? Like, have I tried everything? Is this have chronic roots? Is there some acute trauma that triggers something in me that causes me to feel like I deserve this? You know, is it vicarious trauma? Like, is this something that I'm ingesting? Like, what does my day look like? Not that we're fixing things, but at least we're identifying it and like calling it out and writing it down. Giving a name to things is something that therapists do really well. They just say, oh, hey, I'm noticing this. And suddenly it's like, oh, that's so freeing that you've called out kind of the origin, that we've talked through this. And so the first thing I would say is just like write down your experience, bring it out of the space of the abstract in your head, because a lot of times you can just kind of go down a rabbit hole and it doesn't prove to be fruitful when it's locked up here. And then go, hey, this is out of my control. I need help. And know that help, it's so available. We have incredible counselors here. We have resources here. Click on those links. And we really would love to see you get started on the journey towards health. And then there's just the other things, like I said, cost-free care, because a lot of things feel cost prohibitive. I just can't afford. I can't afford a therapist. I can't. But there's small things that can help, not eliminate, but maybe alleviate the pain.
Yep. And we'll put that list in our mental health resources area on the website.
Yeah.
We want to help you. I'm so glad that you were here. I'm so glad that you paused to listen to this message. And if this is something that you're dealing with or somebody close to you, just know that we are praying for you. And we're so glad that we have this hope that things will be restored and can be restored. So I hope to see you for our next message. That'll be next time. Thanks so much. I'll see you then.